Meanwhile, speaking of Congress, the Democrats are divided. They cannot figure out what to do about some of their freshman members, in particular, Ilhan Omar, who over the last 2 months has had to apologize for anti-Semitic tropes, and last week was talking about loyalty to Israel. She's spoken to Nancy Pelosi, but Nancy Pelosi has not revealed what sort of discipline, if any, she's going to met out to this new Congresswoman. But here's the thing. Yesterday we told you that there was a plan to have a new resolution, non-binding, read into the record at the U.S. Capitol, denouncing anti-Semitism. But now, because a number of people have come to her defense, Congresswoman Omar's defense, it looks as if that may not ever happen.
Now it's more anti-hate. They were changing the wording. It was supposed to be a resolution that was going to be taken to a vote yesterday, and then it was going to be today, and now it might not even happen, as you just said, Steve. Nancy Pelosi, she actually was in that meeting with the rank-and-file Democrats, and she was upset with them. She ended up putting the microphone down, and after she said to them, she said, well, if you are not going to listen to me, I'm done talking, and she walked out of the room. The president tweeted and said it is shameful that House Democrats won't take a stronger stand against anti-Semitism. In their conference, anti-Semitism has fueled autocracies throughout history, and it is inconceivable that they will not act to condemn it.
It's amazing because Nancy Pelosi didn't miss a shot to blame the president. She said, to be honest with you,
sorry, I was like, that is not what the word is.
She says, you know, this whole resolution, they want to make the Democratic Party as if they're not very united. The president does that. No, they're not very united. You walked out of a room. You're all over each other. The leadership is being trampled by freshmen that's fundamentally changing our foreign policy from the Foreign Relations Committee. And by the way, Congresswoman Omar should stop apologizing, but she contradicts herself the next day and says, basically, I shouldn't apologize. At one point, Jan Schakowsky, a Democrat and a close ally, pleaded with the Democrats to stop tweeting, at which point nobody did. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez went after another Democrat, Juan Vargas, on Twitter, and then he came back and said, you could have just walked down the hall and talked to me. They are at each other's throats right now.
Well, speaking of walk down the hall, talk to
I saw your son doing that.
Yeah, Peter Doocy yesterday, you were about to see some of his attempted interview with Congresswoman Omar. He talked to her for over 5 minutes, and he was very polite. At times she was speaking to her assistant right there, and he would wait until they were done talking, and then he would ask a question. She never answered any of the questions that he asked, but he asked all the right questions, questions that people want answers to. Here's some of Peter yesterday on Capitol Hill.
Congresswoman Omar, it seems like there's some confusion among your colleagues. Are you anti-Semitic? Congresswoman, can I just quickly ask, would you support this resolution condemning anti-Semitism? My only question, just would you support the resolution condemning anti-Semitism and other forms of bigotry? Congresswoman, would you support the resolution condemning anti-Semitism? Congresswoman, would you support the resolution condemning all forms of bigotry?
And she never answered.
Kamala Harris, you also have Bernie Sanders, basically Senator Warren, all saying, well, you should not confuse a anti-Israeli policy to anti-Semitism. Questioning the Israeli policy is not a question. I think she's doing both on a regular basis. And I just keep asking, why did Nancy Pelosi look at her resume and say she'd be perfect for the Foreign Relations Committee? How is she still on that committee?
Specifically, what Nancy Pelosi said, she said she's not intentionally anti-Semitic. Kamala Harris, she said
she's anti-Semitic, just not intentionally.
And not intentionally, right? Kamala Harris said the attention on Omar puts her at risk for possible violence. And then Bernie Sanders had problems with Benjamin Netanyahu, said it was right-wing.
Well, nonetheless, she is in the news, but she will not talk to reporters about what's going on.
Some people are in the news and some people do the news. And that's Jillian.
Yeah, absolutely.